All right, let's talk about compounds. Now, before we get into what a compound is, let's do a quick little review about the different categories of matter. All right, so we start off with matter as being our main subject area, and that can be divided into two types of substances. A pure substance, which consists of one type of molecule, so it would be a single particle or a couple of particles that are in a constant ratio. And in a pure substance, we always have consistent properties. Why? Because every particle is the same. So because every particle is the same, that means they have consistent properties. Now, those pure substances can be broken down into two types. Type number one is an element, which we've already learned about, and an element is simply a particle that consists of one type of atom. All right. The other type, and that's what we're going to be looking at today, is what's called a compound. And in a compound, we have two or more different types of atoms combined together. Now, the other type of matter, or the other classification of matter, would be mixtures. And these we've already spent some time looking at. So mixtures contain two or more different types of molecules in them. We have more than one thing mixed together, all right? So because we have more than one thing, the properties will vary. So the two types that we've already talked about are solutions, and a solution consists of more than one type of molecule, but mixed together in a way that you can only see one thing. So solutions are often called homogeneous mixtures. And then we have what are called mechanical mixtures. And in mechanical mixtures, again, we have more than one type of molecule, but you can actually see the different particles. You can see the different layers within it. All right. So again, a solution, because we can only see one thing, that is considered a homogeneous mixture. But if we look at pure substances, again, we've got either elements or compounds. Just like with solutions, we can only see one type of thing. So in an element, there is only one type of atom. So obviously, looking at it, we would only see one thing. Compounds as well will have more than one type of atom, but because they all combine in a very specific ratio, that means that every molecule, every particle is the same there as well. So that means they would look homogeneous as well. So what we see is what we consider to be one phase. In other words, it's the same thing throughout the entire substance. In a mechanical mixture, again, they're heterogeneous. That means that we can see more than one phase. That means we can see different particles. We can see different substances within that mixture. All right. So today, in this video, we are going to look specifically at compounds. So there have been a couple of terms, a couple of things that I've mentioned already that we'll clarify. We'll make it a little bit more understanding. All right, so what is a compound? Well, pure substances that are made up of two or more different elements constitute a compound. All right, so if I have a whole bunch of a single atom, so let's say, for example, if I have a sample of gold, that means that every atom in that sample is a gold atom. All right, so the entire substance, the entire chunk of gold that I have is entirely made up of single atoms of gold. Now, a compound is going to be composed of two or more different elements that are combined together, but when they come together and form a single particle, so when they come together and form what is called a molecule, it is always in the same numbers. Right? So there will always be one of this element and two of that element, for example. So as I said, compounds are what are called molecules. So we've got groups of atoms bonded together. And in this case, this is a specific type of molecule that has two or more different elements in it. Now, compounds can be written as a formula. And some of these you're going to be familiar with. One major one very common one that you'll know is H2O. And I'm sure all of you know that H2O is water. Now, that H2O means something. That H means hydrogen. That O means oxygen. And that 2 actually tells us how many hydrogen atoms there are. All right? And we'll learn about how that works as we go farther along. But in this specific example, this formula tells us that H2O water has exactly 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. Every single molecule of water will have the exact same number of hydrogen and oxygen. So if you were to look at a sample of water, if you were to look at a glass of water, and you were to zoom in with better technology than we even have that exists right now, and we were able to look at every particle of water, they would all look exactly the same. Every single particle of water would be composed of 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. That is a compound. All right, so water, the compound water, is always composed of 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen. So that gives you a basic overview of what a compound is. Again, a compound is a pure substance. So if we were to look at a sample of a compound, every particle within that sample would look the same. But if we were to look very closely at it, we would see that every particle is actually composed of multiple different atoms, but they always have the same number of each atom in the molecule. So again, water as an example, every particle of water is composed of exactly 2 hydrogen and 1 oxygen.